Hi, I'm Eric Jaworski, founder and CEO of Family Home Gardens. Thank you for the opportunity to sit down and talk today about the opportunity we feel is in the market space today and how our partnership will create a great financial investment for you. My goal over the next 15 minutes is to discuss the problem that we feel is in the market space today, the solution that Family Home Gardens offers, what our target market looks like, who our competition is, the industry itself, what our marketing plan looks like, what milestones we'll need to reach to meet our goals, the financials of the business, the funding we will require, and your return on investment. Again, thank you for the opportunity to share what Family Home Gardens has to offer. Let's talk about that opportunity. In the United States today, there's a growing social trend to be sustainable, environmentally responsible, and to invest locally. People like to know what's going into their produce. They like to know that it's free of chemicals and carcinogens, things that could have long-term negative consequences to their family. They've started to use local farmers markets much more frequently. They like to invest in local farmers, people they feel they can trust, people they feel that aren't going to put stuff into their produce that will have negative consequences to them. At the same time, they've started to realize that they could create their own home garden as well. Across the suburbs of America, local little home garden boxes are cropping up all over the place. They like to be able to create their produce on their own, feed their family, be environmentally responsible. To that end, we think we can help that consumer. There's an opportunity for us to come in because these people aren't really carpenters, they're not farmers, and they don't really have the time to create their own garden box and maintain it. That's where we come in. So what is Family Home Gardens doing to meet that need that's out there in the market? We're going to offer customized home gardens to those consumers. We're going to go beyond just the rectangular box filled with dirt. What we want to offer is a customized garden that meets the individual tastes of our consumers, shows their individual personality, and fits into the neighborhood and landscape. We're going to make it beautiful. What we offer is a level of expertise that the current consumer doesn't have today. Most importantly, as we know that they're not carpenters, we're going to be able to save them time from redos and reworks from mistakes they made. But most importantly, we're going to offer the gift of time. Our consumers are busy suburbanites. They have a family, 2 kids, jobs, recreational activities to get to. They don't have the time or the resources to work on these projects, to develop them on their own. They'll enjoy the garden, not work the garden. At the same time, we'll offer consulting services pre and post sale. We'll help the customer design their garden to their individual needs, what type of vegetables they want to grow, how to plant them, when to plant them, what type of fertilizers they can consider, both environmentally responsible ones and your generic ones as well. We'll offer tips on gardening, how and when to water, and then post-sale we offer the opportunity to do weeding for them on a regular basis. We offer end-of-season cleanup for them. They will put as much time and investment into this garden as they want to. So let's talk about our ideal customer. Through significant research and testing, we've identified that the Twin Cities of Minnesota offer significant opportunity for family home gardens. These customers identified as wanting and desiring a home garden, but they lack the time and the knowledge to do so. These are busy suburbanites living in the Twin Cities. They have the resources, but don't have the know-how to do it. Through research, we identified that families with an income over $100,000 have a strong interest in doing so, but lack the time to do it. They have kids, they have jobs, they have responsibilities to go to. They want to spend time with their families. They want to enjoy the home garden, but they don't know how to do it on their own. They did identify a lack of knowledge base on carpentry skills and concern that they would end up wasting time and money on reworks and redos when mistakes were made. They definitely have an interest to do this, but they don't have the resources or time. So let's talk about the industry we'll be operating in, landscape services. We are poised to succeed in a post-recession economy as landscape services is growing at 3.3%, which is on par with current U.S. GDP, and above historical rates of 3.25%. It relies heavily on the health of the housing market and disposable incomes. Housing is growing at 7.4% after the 2009 economic downturn, and according to most studies, the number of households with earnings above $100,000 is expected to rise. This is important to us as our ideal customer is going to have earnings above $100,000. Industry growth is forecasted to remain stable at 3.3%, and profit margins will also remain stable at 6.7% through 2020. This is a $76 billion industry in the mature phase of its life cycle and considered stable. While maturity may seem like a bad thing, we are entering a niche market space. We have no competition out there and are going to get first mover status. We'll talk a little bit more about this later in the competition section. Product and markets that we'll be operating in are broken into 4 segments: commercial and maintenance services, residential maintenance and general services, design build installation services, and arbor services. Our primary segment, design build installation services, make up 13.8% of the industry and covers the maintenance and installation of lawn and garden features. Our other segment, residential landscaping, makes up 31% of the industry, which includes lawn maintenance services, fertilization, weed and pest control. Both sectors forecast a rise over the next 5 years and mostly attributed to economic recovery and increase in disposable income. This bodes well for family home gardens. So let's talk about the competitive landscape today. We really have 5 main competitors in the landscape. The first one, do-it-yourselfers. Your average suburbanite can go onto YouTube, go onto Pinterest, get a bunch of ideas, then go down to Home Depot, buy the supplies, buy the dirt, buy the vegetables, and install it on their own. They have the resources, but the biggest thing they're lacking is time. Time and know-how. This is where we insert our value. We create something that is unique, something special to them that talks about their personality, separates them from your average garden box, and that's where we need to focus our time and marketing. The second one, landscape services. There is a plethora of landscape services in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. These companies have the knowledge base, but aren't in the market yet today. That's where our first mover status will really help us out. The second one, construction companies. Again, there's a knowledge base that's already there, but no one in the market today. Both of these competitors could shift their business models to either create a separate entity to enter the market space or just start offering these services to customers today. Where they lack, though, is in the consulting services. They don't have the ability to offer weeding, post-installation cleanup, pre-sales consulting on gardens. That's, again, where we insert our value. The next one, consulting services. There are a plethora of nurseries around the Twin Cities. There's also the World Wide Web. Customers can go online, find out about gardening practices, find out how to build the box, and then go to a nursery to buy the supplies and get tips. Oftentimes nurseries create a competitive advantage for themselves by being able to help consumers after they buy. They can trust these people and go back to them. But there's one major competitor, and this is going to be the real tough one to overcome: change. Getting a customer to actually do something, to decide that they want to make that change and make the investment in a home garden. Getting them to move to the next step will be our biggest challenge. So what is our marketing strategy? How do we gain as much of the market as fast as possible? We did extensive market research and testing on our consumers to determine how they like to buy. There were 3 main ways that they determined how they buy landscape services. The first and largest by far was referrals. Customers like to talk to other customers who have bought from landscape companies to understand what kind of company they are. Do they deliver on their promises? This will be our most important area to focus on. We're going to offer early buyer incentives to customers who will build up our referral base. These customers will be able to get additional services for limited or no cost based on how many referrals they can give us. The second, direct mailers. A lot of our consumers said that they responded to direct mailers sent to them. But to save costs early on stamps, we're going to take a different approach. Around the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul exists park and rides. The Metro Transit system in the Twin Cities is very strong, and a lot of our customers take buses into work. These are our ideal customer base. They work in the downtown area, they're high-income earners, and they are interested in our services. They also lack the time and knowledge to create the garden box. So our direct mailers will be left on the windshields of these customers at park and rides. The last, of course, is a strong website. Every consumer we talked to said that they use the web to investigate companies they're looking at. They want to know what kind of company we are. We're going to make a significant investment in a strong, professional website that shares our values and beliefs so customers will know what they're getting. They can build up some trust and know that we're a technology-forward company. So let's talk about the key developments and milestones that we need to reach to be successful, as well as what you can expect from an exit plan so that your investment will give you the return that you're expecting. First off, we're going to secure financing and open our doors in Q1 of 2016. At that point, we're going to hire our key employees, start training and implementing our values and beliefs upon them. By the third quarter of 2016, we'll start securing sales and start looking towards 2017. We're going to introduce consulting services at the end of our first year, and the intent there is to grab end-of-year cleanup projects as well as secure sales for our second year. We will become profitable in Q1 of 2018, and then in our third year, we'll start adding new territories, moving south to Hennepin and Carver County and expanding our footprint in that area. That area has also been defined as an area where incomes are high and accepting of our product. We'll exceed 1 million sales by our fourth year, and then in 2021, our fifth year, we will start executing our exit plan. So let's talk about what that exit plan looks like. We've identified two potential scenarios for selling the business. First off, acquisition by a local nursery or garden center. That would help us recognize economies of scale, increase capital, could see us take on more jobs, and the partnership would help us grow both brand names and keep us a local brand. The second option follows the Geek Squad model when they were purchased by Best Buy. Acquisition by a national brand like Lowe's or Home Depot would launch us nationally. While less likely, this would be the more ideal path for greater profit potential and give our brand name nationwide attention. So let's talk about the financials of the business. As I mentioned, we're going to open our doors in 2016. To do that, we are seeking $600,000 in capital up front. As we open those doors up, we expect limited growth in our first year, but 2016's slow launch will help us prepare for aggressive growth in years 2 and 3, and moderate growth in years 4 and 5. In year 2, as word of our product spreads, we'll start to see rapid growth. 60% of our survey target market express strong interest, and as they become more aware of our presence, we'll see our sales accelerate. In Q1 of 2017, we expect sales to exceed $30,000, and in Q2, sales are expected to double over Q1 as momentum builds. We expect 50% growth in Q3 and 33% growth in Q4. In 2018, as we become profitable, our growth will taper off to 20% and then decrease to 15% in 2019 and 2020. We expect our costs to grow with us, although we'll make every effort to keep some costs fixed. We're planning on signing long-term leases to lock in the cost of our location over the first 3 years, but we expect most variable costs to grow with us at 3% annually. After year 3, we expect all costs to rise between 3 and 5% annually. Commissions are predicted to be at 5% of sales, and cost of goods sold remains steady at 10% of sales. Returns are expected to be 1% of sales, and our people will be our biggest cost, making up 82.5% of total costs. So let's talk about what we're asking for. We need an initial investment of $600,000. We require any investor interested in this project to invest at a minimum of $150,000. For every $15,000 you invest, you get 1% ownership in Family Home Gardens. We expect to reach profitability in 9 quarters, and then 5 years later, we'll begin to execute our exit plan. Next, we're going to talk about what that exit plan looks like and what you can expect for a return on investment. Anyone with 20% ownership secures a seat on the board of directors. As I mentioned, we will execute our exit plan in 5 years, and the value of Family Home Gardens at the end of that time will be $1.9 million. So what do you get? At the end of our exit plan, you get a 29% return on investment. I'd like to thank you for the time to talk about the opportunity that we perceive, the value that Family Home Gardens will offer, and what you can expect for your investment. Thank you and have a great day.